3, 2,
What's up, my civilians? Your boy Buckmeister, twice the nice that you used to. Bam! Oh, we are here with this, and I've been putting this off for a couple of days. Yeah, well, you know, between me and life. But, yeah, I said to myself, I'm gonna react to this, so let's react to this. So, link is in the description down below. Please go check it out for yourself. This is Trey Melvin. Dear White People, the N-Word Part 2. So, y'all ready? Let's do it. Let's go.
Back for more, I see. Good for you. It's all about the baby steps. I'm gonna hop right back on into this. Dear white people, non-black people of color as well, everybody that ain't black, your opinion of the N-word and how and when it should and should not be used doesn't fucking matter. This commentary is separated into two parts. Part one, how your use of nigga disenfranchises my black ass. If you haven't already, make sure you check that out. And part two, the linguistic and pragmatic use of the term nigga. Welcome to part two. So whenever I try to explain racism to white people, there's a nice chunk who are able to understand, who are able to listen, who are able to comprehend their privilege. Oh, but the majority asks for facts. The majority asks for news articles. The majority asks for proof of my oppression, proof that I am black, as if 400 years isn't proof enough. I've got an article, an immaculate article, that I'm going to read word for word on the linguistic and the pragmatic use of the term nigga, written by Aaliyah Luckman, a beautiful black queen who was completing her BA in theoretical linguistics with a minor in American Sign Language. Before we start, let's define linguistic. Relating to language or linguistics. It is quite simply the scientific study of language and involves an analysis of language form, language meaning, and language in context. And let's define pragmatic, dealing with things sensibly and realistically in a way that is based on practical rather than theoretical considerations. Let's begin. A Guide to Not Using the N-Word by Aaliyah Luckman. Let's discuss the linguistic and pragmatic use of the word nigga. Who can use the N-word? First and foremost, it is important to substitute can for should where this question is concerned. When told you can't do something, the triggering response is, why can't I? Challenging you to search for reasons to grant you permission to go ahead and do it. Whereas when you're told you shouldn't do something, you react with, why shouldn't I? Summoning caution and self-reflection. Here, you're concerned with preventing self-harm. Whether that harm is your reputation or being socked in the face, white people and non-black people of color should refrain from using the N-word in all forms. This is due in part to the linguistic history and meaning of the word, as well as the pragmatics or context in which it is used and to whom and by whom. What does it mean? The word has referred to black people since well before it became part of the English language. In 1422, Portuguese sailors first encountered the people of West Africa in search of gold, salt, and other commodities. This encounter birthed the Portuguese-Spanish term negro, which came from Latin niger, meaning black or dark. English contains a series of loanwords deriving from Romance languages, including what we refer to now as the N-word. So, as far as we know, in the English language, the word has always denoted blackness. After rapper Kendrick Lamar's noble attempt to reclaim the word in his I, there's been a misconception that the English word stems from the Ethiopian Amharic term Nigus, meaning king. This is false. Think about it. Are racist colonizers more likely to borrow words from the very people they are slaughtering and enslaving, or from their European counterparts? These are the same people who terrorized Native Americans and stuck them in melting pot institutions for speaking their own tongue. Moreover, American slaves generally originated from Western Africa, while Ethiopians resided east, so the two languages should not have intersected at that time. Why is it harmful? Each ethnic group carries its own list of racially appointed slurs, but black people have by far the longest, including ape, buck, colored, coon, crow, jigaboo, mammy, porch monkey, pickaninny, and spook, to list a few. Each
Yeah,
of these
there's a lot
words
more.
denote what
There's
white
a lot
people
more.
believe to be specific characteristics of black people. Nigger, however, was the holy mother of them all because it expressed white people's all-encompassing repugnance for black people. According to the African American Registry, the hateful slur implies laziness, ignorance, and inferiority, and was used frequently to modify nouns, verbs, and other adjectives. Examples: nigger luck, good luck received by someone without merit. Nigger tipping, the act of leaving a poor tip or no tip at all. Nigger brown, a dark brown subsequent to just brown. Nigger was also a common pet name for animals with dark-colored fur. The slur, especially during the Jim Crow era, was used in various nursery rhymes and children's books, sung and read to celebrate the demise of black people. Examples include Agatha Christie's 1939 10 Little Niggers, later 10 Little Indians, Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, where tiger later replaced the slur, and Harry C. Brown's Nigger
I
Love
know
a
that one.
Watermelon,
I know
ha
the
ha
Eeny, Meeny,
ha,
Miny,
sung to the
Mo.
tune of the iconic ice cream truck melody we know and love today. How did the word become so commonly used by black people today? The transition to the modern form of the slur can be linked to African American vernacular English, a dialect of English with its own set of phonological rules. These rules govern how sounds are sequenced in words. Among these rules are what some call R-dropping, or non-rhotic behavior. In words with syllables ending in the R sound, the R is deleted and sometimes replaced by an unstressed vowel called schwa, which sounds like a. For becomes fo, fire becomes fire, mother becomes mother, and so on. Before anyone is quick to call this process ghetto, R-drop exists in several other English dialects, including those of England, Australia, and New Zealand. When applied to the word nigger, the R is deleted and becomes nigga, triggering a change in spelling and a shift in connotation. Today, there is an intuitive distinction between the tones of the hard R suffix in nigger, which is alarming even when uttered by other black people, versus the commonly used suffix in nigga. Linguistically, the suffix a acts as what is called a diminutive suffix, which attached to the end of words to lessen the severe or formal meaning. Other diminutive suffixes include the y in daddy or doggy, which denote familiarity, intimacy, or informality. Similarly, nigga has become a term of familiarity. Now bear with me as I break it down further linguistically. Pragmatics is the study of language and meaning in context. Thus, pragmatic competence is the ability to use language appropriately under various circumstances. These circumstances include the purpose for communicating, the relative
What's
status of those
crazy is that
communicating,
all
and the
of this is gonna
location
be a
of
zero
communication.
sum.
Relative status is the most important component
it
when it
hurts
comes
me
to
to say
using
that. It actually
appropriate
makes
and
me mad,
non-offensive
but it's
speech.
gonna
For
be a
example,
zero
when
sum.
asking a sibling to
I
pass
bet
you
you
a
on
tissue
this
box,
video
you might simply
I'm
point
gonna
out and shout Kleenex.
Maybe.
However, when you're sitting
I'm
in your
surprised
boss's
the last
office,
one
you
I
might
didn't
try a
get
more
called it.
formal, could you please pass me some tissue? This
Been
is because
called
the
it
relative
3
status
times
between
now,
you
and
and your
I've only been on
sibling is
YouTube
much
for
different
6
from that
months,
between
more or
you and
less.
the person who signs your paychecks. Different circumstances warrant different word choices. For example, purpose, to get someone to stop talking. Status, sibling, same age, younger. Shut up. Purpose, to get someone to stop talking. Status, stranger, coworker, classmate. I'd really appreciate it if you'd be quiet. Many languages have this distinction of relative status embedded in pronouns. French, vous versus tu. Spanish, usted versus tu. German, sie versus du. Chinese, nin versus ni, etc. In certain cultures, strangers and elders might feel offended when addressed with familial you for lack of respect, whereas friends and family might feel offended when addressed by formal you because of the implied distance. The concept of relative status is especially important in use of socially and historically derogatory terms. I took this understanding to Twitter. Given a scenario where 2 homeless men were teasing each other, one calling the other a hobo, 87% of 3,662 voters on Twitter felt that this exchange was not offensive. In contrast, 93% of voters concluded that the exchange would be offensive between a man in a suit and the homeless men. This pattern continued with the use of the R slur between individuals with intellectual disabilities, the F slur between gay males, and bitch between women. Majority of voters felt that derogatory slurs used by members within the targeted group were less offensive than used by someone outside of it. Even if your friend with intellectual disabilities allowed you to use the R slur in their presence, would you use it to address others? No. At least I hope not. Reason being, language use licensed in one circumstance does not warrant such use in any circumstance. A white person asked me, what if your black friends let you use nigga all the time? My answer, your friend doesn't speak for the entire black community and technically doesn't have clearance to permit your everyday use of the word. I repeat, word use licensed in one circumstance does not warrant use in any other circumstances. Once more, just because your one black friend lets you say nigga does not mean it is okay for you to say nigga. Women have succeeded in using bitch in various registers to express different meanings, including an address of endearment or familiarity. When used by men, however, the word is offensive in all registers because historically it has been used by men to belittle and degrade women. For this very reason, white people and non-black people of color cannot gauge the same meaning from the N-word. Using it in this way is just as inappropriate as addressing the Queen of England as the diminutive Lizzie. What if I'm not black, but I'm a person of color? Non-black people of color have no more right to utter the word than white people. Because of America's history with slavery, black people were and have always been at the bottom of the ethnic hierarchy, maybe with the exception of Native Americans. And seeing as how you have not suffered the same oppression of the word, using it is just as insensitive. This also applies to non-black people who have grown up surrounded by black culture. How would you feel if every time you used the word, you were retorted with the racial slur designated for your ethnic group? If you truly wish to use racial slurs so desperately, commoditize your own. What if it's in a song? What if it's in a song? You should have no more compulsion to scream the word at a rap concert than you have to sing the original version of Black Eyed Peas' Let's Get It Started in a group of children with disabilities. Making it this far in the article, you should have come to a point of understanding where you can make a conscious decision to filter yourself. If the word is so bad, should black people really be using it? The short answer is no. No more than homeless people should call themselves hobos, or children with intellectual disabilities should call themselves the R word, or gay people should call each other the F slur, or women should call each other bitches. Still, we do. And if we so happen to stumble upon someone of the same relative status who feels truly offended by our use of the word, we don't call them sensitive or argue why we have the right to use it. We apologize. Black or not, the Jim Crow era only ended about 50 years ago, and we should understand that there are people walking among us who have experienced the horror behind the word firsthand. At the end of the day, it all comes down to respect, and if you wish to take part in a culture that isn't yours, it is important for you to respect its customs. So if you feel provoked by this article, then it is imperative that you reassess your regard for the people whose culture you so deeply wish to assimilate to, rather than police the language they use among themselves. You got that?
You're trying to convince people who do not want to be convinced. That's the hard truth. The hard truth is that you can lead a horse to a fountain, but you can't force it to drink. You can try, you can drag that snout right to the pond, but if it don't want to drink, it don't want to drink. If it's not thirsty, it's not thirsty. Hell, if it's convinced, actually even better, if it's convinced it's not thirsty, then if it dies because of thirst, but it convinced itself it's not thirsty, you did all you could. You took it to the pond. Alright, look, my point being is that focus on you. And I'm talking to black people in particular. Focus on your black peoples, your black friends. Focus on getting you, like, for Trey Melvin, I don't know if you ever watched this, my man, but, like, I hope you're, with your Trey Productions, that you're hiring a lot of black people out the gate and y'all working together to hustle and push that machine forward. Because honestly and truly, that's the only way. That's the only way. That's the only way. But yeah, if you guys like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you did not, that is your business, and I'll see you all in another video because Master Man's gonna be out. Peace.